flying. It's a superpower that we humans have dreamt of for a long time. But while we need machines to make it possible, animals can fly in some amazing and often surprising ways. Like our first creature, who even helped inspire the helicopter.
Dragonflies have been around for about 300 million years, and they definitely look like it. They're super prehistoric looking and really just crazy cool.
Dragonflies were actually one of the very first winged insects to evolve on Earth. Which means they've literally had millions of years to develop some incredible aerial skills.
A dragonfly is an incredibly acrobatic flyer. They can hover in one place, they can fly backwards, and they can fly forwards incredibly fast.
It's pretty impressive.
Dragonflies get their extreme agility because special muscles in their thorax allow them to control each of their four wings independently. It's an amazing adaptation. And you might be surprised to learn that it helps dragonflies be incredibly successful predators.
A dragonfly is actually one of the most successful hunters in the world.
As adults, dragonflies dine exclusively on other insects, which they hunt down by intercepting them in midair and grabbing them with their feet.
These guys catch their prey about 9 out of 10 times.
Amazingly, that success rate is about twice that of a great white shark and about 4 times that of a lion.
These guys are incredibly talented hunters.
One dragonfly can feast on hundreds of insects in a single day. Even other dragonflies. And their incredible hunting skills are aided by another amazing superpower.
It's hard to look at a dragonfly and not notice its incredibly enormous eyes. If a human had eyes like a dragonfly, it would be like holding 2 football helmets on either side of our head.
Those gigantic eyes are technically known as compound eyes.
A compound eye is basically made up of many microscopic lenses. Each tiny lens points in a slightly different direction and captures an individual image. And then the animal's brain puts all the images together.
Dragonfly eyes can each have up to 30,000 of these lenses, making them one of the most complicated eyes in the insect world.
Dragonflies are able to see almost 360 degrees. The only spot that they can't see is directly behind them.
They're also able to process what they see much faster than other animals.
So when you look at a dragonfly, you may think it just has 2 eyes, but in fact, it has 5. It has 3 smaller eyes that we don't really notice that are meant to detect motion.
These extra eyes help dragonflies process around 200 images per second. For comparison, our human vision is about 60 images per second.
This means they basically see the world in slow motion.
Slow-mo vision means they can plan their maneuvers in record time. It's another reason why they are such fantastically acrobatic flyers. When we return, a fish that flies out of water, and a snake that will surprise you. The wide open ocean. Beneath those waves, it's filled with life. And occasionally, some of that life comes flying out into the air. Flying fish. If they caught you by surprise, you're not alone. In fact, that's the whole point.
Flying fish fly to escape predators.
If you're a predatory fish, you're not going to expect your prey to leave the water. That's usually not something that happens. But honestly, it's a marvel of nature, and it's stunning.
There are actually more than 40 species of flying fish found around the world. They all achieve their superpower in basically the same way.
What it will do is it'll swim at the surface really, really fast. And right as its body leaves the water, it'll start shaking its tail and just create thrust.
When they do that, those fins are going to open up. They're going to catch the air and they're going to glide. But they don't have to go back into the water when they're done. What they can do is they can get a little bit more rev with that caudal fin and then go back up again.
By touching down quickly and instantly lifting off again, a flying fish can soar for more than 1,200 feet. That's practically the height of the Empire State Building.
And it genuinely looks like they're flying.
Our next animal also has a tricky move that it likes to pull. In Hollywood, snakes are usually cast as the villain. So when you hear of one that can fly, we understand the reaction.
It's kind of scary, but at the same time, it's a snake in the air.
How can this reptile that's meant to be on the ground be able to soar through the sky? It's pretty incredible.
Before you get too worked up, let's clarify something. Flying snakes are only found in the jungles and woodlands of South and Southeast Asia, so your odds of running into one are pretty slim.
These snakes live in these forests where the canopies go extremely tall. So the easiest way to get from point A to point B is to actually jump from tree to tree. And a lot of their prey all have this evolutionary trait.
Flying snakes had to evolve a similar adaptation to survive. After all, getting the drop on a potential meal is a huge advantage. And when we say drop, we really do mean drop.
Flying snakes are technically better fallers than flyers.
It is actually falling, but it's gliding itself down very carefully and under complete control.
So here's what they're really doing.
They'll be in a high branch. They'll crawl out, about half their body will go off the branch. And then with great force, they'll lunge themselves off that branch.
As it falls, it spreads its ribs out and flattens its body. This helps catch the air and slows its descent.
At the same time, by undulating back and forth, the snake can actually make turns.
They'll actually use their body muscles to control the direction in which they go, controlling where they're going to land.
It's just a really unique adaptation from nature. What a fantastic animal.
When we come back, we'll check out a bird with built-in GPS. And later, an adorable creature with a surprising move. Have you ever found yourself completely lost with no idea where you are or how to get to where you're going? Well, our next animal has never had that problem. Pigeons. Not exactly an animal you think of when you hear of superpowers.
Pigeons definitely get a bad rap. I mean, there's so many of them. My mother used to say they're rats with wings. But I wish people would just actually look at the pigeons around them. They're incredibly clever, but also just incredibly beautiful.
You have to admit, pigeons are kind of beautiful. And on top of that, they have an amazing ability.
Pigeons are part of a family called Columbidae, related to doves as well. And they're actually best known for their ability to fly unerringly without using a map or compass.
Believe it or not, some species of pigeons can easily find their way home from more than 1,300 miles away. That's about the distance from Dallas to Los Angeles.
Even more impressive, when we've taken pigeons in complete isolation where they can't see their surroundings to a place they've never been, they've been able to find their way back. They may be flying over places where there's no visual cues, and somehow they do it.
It blows your mind. I mean, we're running around with like navigation systems to go 10 miles.
The question is, how do they do this?
Before we get to that, let's point out that long before we began to understand how they do what they do, we humans were putting the pigeon's superpower to use.
Throughout human history, pigeons have been used as important message carriers.
And we turn off to see something which is not usually thought of in these days of electronic miracles. Yes, those are pigeon coops.
In World War II, they even used pigeons to send crucial messages along the battlefield.
This is G.I. Joe. This is one of the most famous birds in military history. He is credited with saving the lives of 1,000 British soldiers in Italy.
But it's only recently that we've begun to unravel why they're such masters of navigation. And we're pretty sure it all starts in their beak.
Researchers have found a small spot on the beak of pigeons, which actually contains magnetite.
Magnetite is a magnetized rock, and it may help the pigeon find its location relative to the Earth's poles.
The theory is that this tiny deposit of magnetite works a lot like a compass. It allows the pigeon to sense the planet's magnetic poles and use that to determine what direction they're flying.
This special ability to detect the Earth's magnetic field is called magnetoreception, and it's kind of like a built-in GPS to help them find their way home.
They're just simply amazing.
When we return, an animal that gets around the jungle in a unique way. The jungles of Southeast Asia are home to some incredible creatures, including one funky flyer you've probably never heard of.
Colugos are a really interesting species and not one that is well known.
When I first saw a Colugo, I thought it was a CGI creation for some cute kids movie or something.
Mommy, what is that?
They just look unlike any animal I've ever seen.
Colugos are weird. They look very strange. With their big buggy eyes and fur-covered bodies, the Colugo is different.
So first things first, what is a Colugo? Well, they're tree-dwelling mammals that are about the size of a house cat. They're often called flying lemurs, but that's a very misleading name.
They are not actually related to lemurs. They are actually genetically more closely related to primates, which is the group that includes great apes and humans.
They also don't technically fly, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, let's find out why they look so weird.
Colugos have large, striking eyes. That's one of the first things that jumps out at you.
And that's for a reason. They're nocturnal animals, so they need it for night vision. But secondly, it's depth perception.
So why do Colugos need to see really well at night? Well, at night is when they show off their superpower. As you can see, Colugos move around the jungle in a surprisingly spectacular way.
I think it's incredible. Definitely, they have a superpower.
Amazingly, they can glide an average of 200 feet with a single jump. But the longest glide ever recorded was 475 feet. That's like soaring over 2 city blocks.
It's really fascinating to me because it seems like an animal that's too big to be a glider.
So while they may not look that impressive when they're just hanging on a tree, Colugos are actually hiding a secret, built-in superhero cape.
Colugos have a massive fur-covered membrane called a patagium. This membrane stretches from their face to the tips of their tail and their claws.
Compared to other gliding mammals, like flying squirrels or sugar gliders, the Colugo's patagium is way bigger.
That means that they have a bigger surface area. They also have a lighter skeleton, and on top of that, they have webbed feet, which adds even more surface area when they're gliding through the air.
Altogether, this makes Colugos one of the best gliders on Earth.
It's really amazing. I mean, I wish I had that ability.
When we come back, we'll find out which mammal holds a special title in the world of flying. Our last animal is one you're probably familiar with, but most likely never stopped to consider just how remarkable they really are.
Bats are an incredibly fascinating group of animals.
I really like bats. I get excited every time I see one. They're really great at eating a lot of insects. So for me, I've always seen them as kind of a friend and an ally. But the thing that I like most about bats is just that they are the only mammal capable of true sustained flight.
That's right. Bats are the only mammal that generates its own flying power. All those other so-called flying mammals, they're actually just gliding. And not only that, but bats are also some of the best flyers on the planet. Way better than most birds or insects.
Scientists that study all the animals that fly out there say that bats are the most efficient of flyers because they're requiring less energy compared to a bird or an insect.
This is because bats have an incredible secret superpower. Their uniquely shaped wings.
They have these cool little flexible membranes of skin in between their joints. And that whole wing is basically their hand.
In fact, bats have more than 24 joints in each wing. Birds only have 3 joints in their wings. All this flexibility means bats can do some pretty cool things while flying. For instance, let's talk about speed for a moment. Picture the fastest animals you can think of. You probably pictured a cheetah, right? They can run up to 70 miles per hour and are usually considered the fastest mammal on Earth. Well, guess what? The cheetah gets beat by the Mexican free-tailed bat.
They can fly about 100 miles per hour, making them the fastest mammal on Earth. Step aside, cheetah. The bat is faster.
I think they're strangely a really beautiful animal too. When you see a bat up close, they have these really interesting features.
A bat's unique features often play a part in another superpower.
They're one of the few mammals that can use sound to navigate, a trick called echolocation.
Of the more than 1,300 species of bats, the majority use echolocation to navigate at night and hunt for prey, such as insects. It works essentially like a built-in radar.
Bats echolocate by emitting high-frequency sounds through their nose and their mouth.
These sounds hit nearby objects, then bounce back to the bat, giving it a detailed picture of its prey.
Bat echolocation is so sophisticated that these animals can even detect an object the size of a human hair. To me, that's amazing.
That's it for this episode of Super Animals. Join us again to find out more about Mother Nature's most remarkable and amazing creatures.